All right, so welcome to week 4, the body model assignment. Basically, what we're going to do is we are going to take what you modeled inside of Mudbox, and we're going to bring it back into Maya, and we are going to retopologize it, okay? Because what we made in Maya isn't necessarily very good geometry. If you see, it's all triangles, right? It's very irregular. So this isn't actually usable, although aesthetically it looks fine. I mean, it could do a little more work, but at least mine anyway. But it's not actually usable in the state that it's in. So we actually have to take this and retopologize it. The whole reason why we even did this was just so that we could sculpt out the form a little bit better, add details where we need them so that when we do make the topology, we make sure that we're following the proper edge flows of the form and the contour of the body, as well as thinking about the eventual deformation of it as well. Okay, so that being said, we already exported this out in the last video, so you can just watch the last video of last week. So we don't need to export this out of OBJ. Instead, what we need to do is start bringing it into Maya. So we're just going to make a new file. Just make sure that you can just click the sheet of paper. I'm not going to save that. Or you just do File New. So just start with a new fresh file because this isn't in any way related to what we did before because we're just starting from this now. So that being said, we did that. Let's go ahead and import it. If for some reason you notice you can't import OBJs, just remember you go to Windows, Settings, Preferences, Plugin Manager, and then look for OBJ Export. But we'll just do File, Import, and we're going to grab not to Mudbox, Rug Sculpt. That was what we sent to Mudbox. We're going to go to Maya for topology. Import, and once again, here you go. You can see that he's clearly, the geometry is not great, right? If for some reason the hard surfaces are bothering you, you could just select it, go mesh display, and just do soft and edge, and then it will be smooth. Okay, that looks fantastic, fantastico. All right, so one of the things that you might have with your model, or actually, sorry. So in this assignment, we're going to retopologize the model, but just because it's pretty time consuming, and I don't want to overload you guys. I know you have a lot of other classes. I'm not going to have you do the entire figure this week. All I'm going to have you do is the body. So what I mean by that is I want you to do basically the torso and the legs and feet, but I'm not going to have you necessarily do the hands, and I'm not going to have you do the head, okay? We're going to do that next week. We're going to have you do is you'll retopologize the hands as well as any accessories. So if they like carry a weapon or they have like maybe like a big hoodie over top or something. So like next week, what I'm going to do is he's supposed to have claws. So I'm going to model the claws. That'll just be a separate thing I model. I will also maybe model a shirt that goes over top of him because he wears like I can't think of the PC term for that, but you know the shirt I'm talking about. He wears one of those. So I might make some other elements in there. So for this week, it's just basically the body, just the general topology over the entirety of it. Okay. All right. So to do that, what we're going to do is this. I'm going to show you something real quick. Don't do this yet. I just want to show you because you might run into this problem. I just ran into this problem and I had to remake the video. So just watch me. Don't do this. I'm going to select the model. I'm going to go into live mode. I'm going to use the quad draw tool. And what you're going to notice is when I click, right, seems fine. Cool. But when I try to do something that's centered, notice that it's not snapping. It's not snapping to center. Like I can't get these to be centered. See how they're slightly off? I don't know if you can tell. They're like really slightly not in line. So I can't actually make this symmetrical. And the reason for that is, I'm just going to undo all that, is this. Let me undo that. The model, it looks like it's symmetrical, but for whatever reason, it's slightly not. So for instance, see this? There's no center line. There's no center line. See how this isn't the same? It's a lot more obvious if I go into like the front view. You can start to see that it's not the same on both sides. Okay. If I go here, you can see, like, look at this line. See how it's kind of diagonal? It's not going down the center. And you can kind of tell, like, his nose looks slightly different on this side than this side. So it's a little bit more of an angle there and a little rounded there. So for whatever reason, when it did when I was doing the tessellation, it just didn't do it right. So I need to fix that real quick. You might have the same issue. That's why I wanted to highlight it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and delete that dude. Get out of here. We're going to go back to Mudbox, and I'm just going to force this to be symmetrical. So to do that, I don't believe I have to have it selected. Just go to Mesh, and you'll see where it says Make Symmetrical. and then they'll all say off. Just go here, and we want to mirror from left to right. Okay. If you did right to left, it's probably the same too. I don't think it really doesn't make any difference because theoretically they should look the same. The other ones we will leave the same because I'm not trying to mirror on Y or Z, right? I'm not mirroring back and forth or up and down. And then, yeah, so we just do that, hit make symmetrical, and boom. Now what you're going to see is that it's going to have a nice center line, and it is 100%. It kind of makes weird, geometry here a little bit down the center, but it is now actually symmetrical. Once you've done that, we just need to re-export it out. So if you're on layers, go to object list, select the mesh. You can see it made another copy of it. So select that, then just do file, export selection. And I'm just going to save it to Maya for topology. Just save over top of it. I'm going to go back to Maya, and we're just going to re-import it. So file, oops, whatever. We'll do a new file. Don't save that one. I don't know where I clicked. I think I hit home. I don't know how to get out of home. So file, import, then just select, where are you? To Maya for topology.obj. And now we should be good. Let me just double check that that does indeed work. You don't need to do this. I just want to, oops, boink. And it's still not snapping, which is weird. Okay, so after some careful inspection, I think it's a bug that it's not snapping. So because I made a sphere here, just so you are aware, made it live, and then did what do you call it, the quad draw tool, and you can see it doesn't snap on this. And this is obviously 100% symmetrical. And watch, when I go to snap it, it draws it behind it. That doesn't make any sense. So it definitely shouldn't be doing that. So I think there's some sort of thing. That being said, it's actually not that big of a deal. We can work around that. I'll show you how to do that. If you haven't used Maya, I'm assuming you've used Maya some, you will be aware that it is obviously pretty buggy. Okay, so back to what we were doing before. So I don't remember where we left off, but have the object selected. What we're going to do is we're just going to make it live. So select this object, make it live. Okay, and then what we're going to do is I want to use so we can hit the quad draw tool here, but if we go to the modeling toolkit, especially if modeling is going to be the thing that you're going to do, this is good just to use and have it open. It allows you to more easily select components. You can do symmetry here. You can adjust your soft select. It has kind of like you would have up here the shelf, like you could just remove this shelf altogether and just use this. And you can put your own in here as well. It's just like the shelf. It's not any different. So if you have tools that you particularly use a lot, you can plop them in here. One of the tools you'll see that we have is this quad draw. That's the one we're going to be using. Now, what's nice also about this is that it gives you all the options. So you don't have to hit like an option box or something like that. You can see all the options right here, or have open up the tool settings. They'll be right here. The other thing that it has is that if you go here, it'll actually show you what all the modifier keys, your alts, your tabs, your controls, what those will do when you use a specific tool. And this tool has a number of different functions that it can do when it is creating the geometry. Okay, so yeah, you can look at these if you want, just to get a rough idea, but I'm just going to do over here because whatever. There's also, we can adjust the look. If you don't like the look in particular, we can work on that as well. So what I like to do is I like to try to draw the like strips of where I know the topology should be, of where the grid line should be, the edge loops. And then what I'll do is I'll connect those afterwards. So you'll just see me like draw like almost like bands on things, and then I'll connect those bands to each other. So I'm going to start off just where the hips, because that's, they don't lie. So what we're going to do is I'm going to click, and you're going to see it usually what should happen, maybe yours will work. It should snap and be yellow. But what we're going to do instead is I'm going to draw it there, and I'm just going to make these relatively broad. It's a lot easier to add geometry than remove it. And I'm going to put one, we'll say here. And then I'm going to put one, so I'm going to picture this being an 8 that goes around. So we'll put one roughly here to here. I'm just going to use this as a guide. I'm going to hold Shift, and you're going to see it's going to do this blue thing in between. So then I'll click, and now it drew it. All right, now what you can do is if I hover over these, you can see it on the opposite side. It'll be blue. When it gets to a certain closeness, it'll snap. And you'll see a little icon will pop up. So this is how we're going to work around it, because we could just snap our center points afterwards. So it's not that big of a deal. Let's pull this guy up. Okay. So we'll just go like that. Then I'm going to go where I think the halfway mark is. So we'll just say here to here. Hold shift. Boom. Go to right here to here. Now yours might be a little bit different. This, every character is not going to be the same. Here to here. Boom. And then we'll just snap and snap. Okay. So now I got my first basic kind of 8 going around. But this will obviously have to be much more dense than what's down here. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add edge loops. I'm just going to break this up so it ends up being twice as much as that. So if you hold control, you'll see it adds edge loop. But what's neat is because we're in live mode, watch what happens when I add it. It's going to sort of, like, that's not super obvious. It'll be more obvious here. I'm going to put one in between each. It'll actually pop out to meet the surface, which is good. You might need to make some adjustments. You can see like this is a little bit off. I feel like this is actually a little bit off. Let's just, try to make adjustments as you're going along. Control, right? So we'll just do this like so, and then we'll do one more here. Okay. And we will call that good. All right. So now I got a strip going around. That looks good. I'm also going to need a strip that's going to go around the crotch area. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead because there's a linea alba here anyway. I'm going to add an extra one here so I can use that for my strip going down. So I'm just going to kind of go like this and like this. It's really annoying. It doesn't snap. Click like that. Just snap these afterwards. And then we'll go, let's say, I'm just going to grab this line up. So we'll go here and then we'll do here and here. Nope, not like that. So then you got to wiggle a little. Sometimes you got to get it a little bit closer so that it knows. There we go. And then we'll snap and go down like this. And then I'm just going to try and get a real tight one right where this crotch is. Oh, weird. Why did it? Okay. So you can see it's having a hard time doing it. So when that happens, what I usually do is I will just pull them up, get them correct, and then I'll just pull them down afterwards to get them where I need. And then we'll just go like that. Let's just get that like that. And then I will just do a real small one here. Ah, crap. I probably put one on the other side. Come on. Boom. Snap that. We'll grab this edge in general. Just going to try and get it around to the other side roughly. Yeah, we want to go a little bit farther. So I'm trying to put it right in the center line of the legs, right? Okay. Then I did what? 2 more afterwards. So we'll go one, dunk, boom, snap. And then I'm just going to add another one here for it to match with, and boom. Okay. So now you see we have kind of a thong looking situation. But that is an okay start. Okay. So I am okay with that. Now what we're going to do is, just to make things a little bit easier, I'm going to, let's say, let's just do one that's going to go from, see where this guy come from. We're putting that up there. That's going to go from across here. I will do that in the next video. I just wanted to get it set up, and hopefully you got just a beginning of a start and a sort of understanding